Hello everybody, welcome back. I'm Alice Blue, and today I'm going to be reading some Embers Adrift patch notes for you. So let's go see what we've got going on this week. Alright, so it is the week of Wednesday, August 3rd. Alright, so what's new? The bulk of our time this week was spent on the new dungeon, new weapon visual configuration, and revamping the quest system. Unfortunately, none of these were finished in time for this build. Even with most of our time eaten up by other tasks, we were still able to fix a few technical issues, add in a new gathering bag, and update a number of designs. Bug fixes and improvements. Hot fixes from the previous weekend. Fixed a few exceptions server side. Disabled colliders on small path rocks in New Haven. Fixed issues with seasonal vegetation effects not applying to the entire zone. Fixed an issue with right-clicking items used to send them to your shared bank. Fixed refreshing the purchase UI for banks in some instances. Fixed floating rocks in Dryfoot Stronghold. Fixed skybox oversaturation of light transmittance at the golden hour. Recipes at the North New Haven Merchant have been reordered by profession and level. Item count label has been moved to the upper right side of the slot. Reagent toggle has been moved to the upper left of the slot. Trimmed the text for keybind label modifiers. Shift is now S, Control is now C, and Alt is now A. I have also removed the plus icon from these as it seemed unnecessary. Added 2 times additional action bar slots. Tech. Added support for large creature targeting. Fixed negative AoE effects now consider line of sight, i.e. Dread Bellows. Fixed offensive and defensive targets are updated continually during execution. This should resolve lingering issues with effects from assist not landing on the intended target. Fixed adjusted Undun's Wrath criteria when parties involved are swimming. Added target dummy armor class now scales with the player's level. Improved weapon mounting for some stances in prep for new weapon visuals. Let me know if any weapons or handheld items are out of whack. Increase the timeout on session keys to reduce the likelihood of invalid session errors. Environment and art. Fixed some stray volumetrics and shadowcasters in the dungeon. Fixed scaling of the tiny two-handed axe. Adjusted seasonal variations on trees losing their leaves. This effect should be less prominent outside of winter. Rebaked Meadowlands nav mesh to better account for deep water. Added a collider in one of the dungeon rooms to prevent you from getting to a spot where you cannot return. Added 55 new weapon visuals and 15 new shield visuals have been added. These are not yet implemented in the game, but you should see them trickle in over the next few weeks. That's awesome. Thank you. UI. Moved execution bar higher above pouch slots. Added keybind labels to the group UI and self nameplate. Adjusted leader and chevron label location relative to the portrait. Adjusted Ember monolith location on the Meadowlands map. Interactives, such as players, should no longer block line of sight for overhead nameplates. Design. Adjusted Undun's Wrath. It no longer grows in power exponentially. It should now hit for a flat 10% of your health every time it ticks. That should give you more time to readjust your position. Resource nodes will spawn and rotate their positions over time. This is to aid in situations where all the highly visible nodes have been harvested and only barely visible nodes are left. Note that the nodes should not despawn when you are near them, so if you see this, please let us know. Tool handles can be crafted from any wood type. Adjusted spawn rules for crocodiles and frogs in Meadowlands. 2 and 3 chevron snatch scale stalkers have been removed from Redshore. Increase to refining experience for gathering professions. Berserker's Windup is now a timed buff for 20 seconds. The damage bonus has been slightly reduced to compensate. Duration of Brigand's Sharpen Edge and Warden's Eagle Eyes increased. Brigands from the Shadows buff will only be consumed by ability attacks. Adjusted gathering failure rates to reduce faster, the further into a material's level range you are. Fixed crafted inner armor having less AC than dropped. Fur and silver gathering refinement recipes have been added. These refined materials can be used as secondary components in recipes. Primary component recipes, silver sword, silver cuirass, etc., is still to come. Moved mob spawns away from the respawn points in Redshore. Slight increase to rare spawn occurrence. Some rare spawns in the larger loot tables now use the bag drop method of random selection. For example, humanoids can drop every weapon type, so it may be possible to loot 5 warhammers and nothing else, since the chance to loot one is the same every time. The bag drop method shifts weights of items depending on recent drops, so getting the same item multiple times increase the odds of getting something different next time. It's still a random chance, but we skew the odds a bit towards more diverse loot. Smoked prefix returned to smoked meats. Most dense nodes have been disabled for now. They will return after a slight refactor. New stuff. Gathering bag. Gatherers rejoice. This week you have all unlocked a new gathering bag that can hold raw materials. It is not lost with your backpack, meaning that you can now gather while missing your belongings. I must reiterate that this bag can only hold raw materials found throughout the world. The default key binding is G and can be remapped in the options. Note that the crafting process only looks for items in your bag and will ignore anything in your gathering bag. This will be remedied in a future patch, which means for now you must move raw materials from your gathering bag to your bag before you can refine them. Apologies for the inconvenience. Works in progress. To see a full list of what is currently in progress, head on over to this thread. I will do my best to update this list on a weekly basis and highlight the differences from the previous week with bold font. Below, I will highlight some of the upcoming changes in more detail. North New Haven Dungeon, 1 week. First pass at spawning of this dungeon is complete. We are still working through a few design changes to the layout as this dungeon will involve ember drifts. It is close, but not testing ready yet. New weapon visuals, 1 to 2 weeks. In addition to the above mentioned visuals added, we have at least an equal number of additional weapon visuals to sort through and make game ready. Quests, about 1 week. The quest system overhaul is basically complete. There are a few small issues that need correcting, but the following week will be focused on content implementation for the WORLDBREAKER event. Ashen visuals and tech. 1 to 2 weeks. Ashen creatures are going to become crucial for collecting the oh-so-precious Ember Essence. These require some new tech for spawning, along with allowing players to collect Ember Essence upon their death. After that, we can move on to populating the world with this mechanism for testing. Known issues. Terrain textures have a bit too much tiling. This will be resolved shortly. Character creation and editing camera on Apple and Mac is bugged. I isolated the issue and submitted a bug report with Unity and still waiting to hear back. Characters can get stuck in a looping animation if they do not properly complete. This is most noticeable for strikers using a bow. Not all ember rings or points of interest are proper map discoveries. This is especially true in Dryfoot and Dryfoot Stronghold and Redshore. Discoveries and map uncovering is a work in progress and will be revisited soon. Zooming the camera while holding the right mouse button on Mac can cause your chat window to scroll. This is not intended behavior. Deconstructing crafted items returns junk 100% of the time. Cannot roll on loot while unconscious. Not all clothing and armor has visuals. Dragging a group nameplate can set the pivot point weird and it will just act kind of funky. Typing chat text may occasionally become invisible. Unfocus your chat window and try again a few times usually fixes it. Sometimes when you respawn, you don't end up at the right ember ring. If this happens, please report the position where you died. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching. And I really hope to see you guys all in game. Also keep an eye out for a WORLDBREAKER 2 event announcement. I know it's already been posted to Discord and the forums and Twitter and stuff, and I'll probably make a little video about that here soon because it is coming up on the 13th. So yeah, tell all your friends. Let's break the game. Again, thank you so much for watching. Bye!